he is the worst Spider-Man that ever existed. He is the worst actor that ever existed.
Thank you.
He is so wooden and weird throughout the whole thing. Now, folks, last week's question of the week was, what gaming moment hit you the hardest? And we went around and we were talking about Last of Us, we were talking about Final Fantasy, we were talking about Ori and the Blind Forest and others. Buzz, you weren't here last week. What would you have said?
I actually, do you know what? It's between Life is Strange, the moment where you have to, I won't spoil it, but that moment in the hospital, or like the hospital bed, and end of Spider-Man PS4 really made me shed a few tears.
Yes, yeah. I know the moment. Yeah, the hospital bed also.
Yes. It might have been just me with death. Maybe there's something wrong with it.
Maybe you just find death sad, Buzz. Maybe that's what it is. But no, that Spider-Man one, we won't ruin it for anyone because that's still relatively new. Like, that moment was super impactful, actually, and I kind of saw it coming, but like at the same time, it was like, wow, this is actually, and that and what happens to introduce Miles Morales into the story, that was also quite impactful. It was kind of like, wow, this game is actually, it has some emotional chops when it wants to. And speaking of which, not to diverge like this whole conversation, but I just watched the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies again in preparation for No Way Home or whatever, and he is the worst Spider-Man that ever existed. He is the worst actor that ever existed.
Thank you.
He is so wooden and weird throughout the whole thing. And like, the one thing I said to my partner was, I can't get invested in the emotional stakes here. The action is good. The supporting characters are good. But he is terrible. And he just has no heart. And then you look at the Tom Holland movies, he does have heart. And then you look at Spider-Man PS4, there's heart, you know what I mean? And that's what makes Spider-Man. That's what makes it worthwhile, you know? But it was just weird to go back in a time capsule when I genuinely enjoyed those Sam Raimi movies to kind of realize now with perspective, oh, these are bad. These are not good.
Yeah. That first one especially is crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Well, like, Willem Dafoe is amazing in it. He is fantastic in it. Like, but yeah, hindsight does a lot. But other people in our community also weighed in on that question, and a lot of people had said The Last of Us, that pivotal moment at the beginning. Many people brought up that moment at the end of Disc 1 in Final Fantasy VII also. You know it if you know it. Jack O'Mahony, friend of the show, past guest on the podcast, says a toss-up between one of Ghost of Tsushima's endings and the Final Fantasy X ending, honestly. The Hymn of the Faith that plays still leaves me like this, and an emoji of a man crying. Don't cry. And David Scott does ring true with the original question asker's answer, where he says Gears of War trilogy starts with Dom and Maria and ends with Dom. Sad face emoji. Very true. For a game that is about muscle-bound meatheads, it had a surprising amount of heart in that moment, I will say.
Yeah.
You're a big fan of heart.
He had a massive cow's heart in his chest. But with that, our community question of the week this week comes from the Facebook group, the Casual Game Community, where you too can get in on the question asking action if you so choose. The link is in the description below. But this week, good friend of the show, Eric Rodriguez, aka Erod, asks, if we could live in a VR world like Ready Player One, what game world would you pick? A few examples such as GTA, Elder Scrolls, Animal Crossing, yada yada yada. Guys, what world would you choose? Shane, if you had to Ready Player One yourself, and just to put it into context, the VR headset that you're putting on, it has an infinite battery and it has been super glued to your face. You cannot take this off. You are now living in said world. Where would you live?
I was going to ask what were the parameters of this because I don't remember Ready Player One very well.
You have a never-ending colostomy tube, and you have a subscription model for your lunches, and you are living in a glued-on virtual world.
I'm in like one of the like test tubes from the Matrix or whatever. that I.
Sure. Yeah.
that
Okay.
kind-
Let's
that
do
kind of
that.
thing.
Let's do
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Okay.
let's just-
Is that what? Yeah,
Matrix.
that's
It's funnier
better,
to think
'cause
of you in a caravan somewhere with the thing on your face, but yeah, like let's do Matrix. So okay.
like all the is it Wally? All the fat people in Wally sitting in the
Yeah.
little chairs.
Yeah, you could live
Is that
in Wally.
That is Wally, isn't it?
It
Anyway,
is, yeah.
we're
Yes,
getting
it is.
aside here. I wanted to know basically is if I was living in this world, could stuff fuck me up?
I think it's funnier
Oh, yeah.
to think. See, here's a parameter. The parameter that Aerod put in front of us is it's like Ready Player One. So we can have you can make the stipulation that okay, well my answer is based on that it's not Ready Player One, it's something else. But specifically, the question he asked was like Ready Player One. Maybe he would be more forgiving about this, but he gave his question in black and white. Shane, I'm just
Yeah.
following the rules here. I'm not the bad guy. Don't hold
Yeah,
me
but
accountable.
Can shit
So
Ready
if-
Player One fuck you up like?
If
Do
you
mean
die
that-
in Ready Player One,
Yeah.
you just reset to 0, don't you? You that's all. You lose your
Yes.
progress
So
or something.
here's the
isn't it?
thing. Let me lay out the stakes here, okay?
Lay them out.
So
Come
in
on. I love
Ready
stakes,
Player
medium
One,
rare.
you put on the suit and you put on the VR thing, and I'm sure there were situations. I spent a long time since I read it where you could die, perhaps. But from my recollection, it's mostly just a virtual world and it's like a video game. Okay.
Okay.
Now, in the real world, if you're asking, can you get fucked up in that way? Yes. If somebody walked into your living space and like punched you, that would hurt. So like you have to continue. You have to contend with the fact that you're living in the real world still, and you have this thing on your face, and you're just being there. Somehow you're still eating and drinking and going to the jacks, without thinking about it. But now your physical or your mental space is somewhere else.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's not what I was talking about. I was talking about like, for example, if I choose Dark Souls as the world to live in, is the minute I come across an enemy, I'm just going to get ganked and be dead in the
I
real
was just
world.
about to say you're definitely going to pick that. And you're going to get
No,
landed
I'm
straight
not
away.
going to pick that because I would,
even if you couldn't die, like that's a terrible place to spend your entire life. Like Christ.
Oh yeah, it is. It's awful. It's an awful place. But it's really kind of intriguing as well at the same time.
You'd be so sick of it after a month. You'd be so pissed off.
I know. I just head down to the Duke's archives and read all the books about magic.
Sure.
But anyway, where would I like to go? Where would I like to explore and see? The world of Ratchet and Clank appeals to me because there's planet hopping and different species to go meet and different things to experience. I think that'll be a fun
actually
galaxy to explore.
I like that.
Would you be in that art style though? Like, would you get to pick what race you're in all as well? Like, would you be a Lombax? Would you be like a robot? Would you be?
You'd be a sexy Lombax now, Shane. I have to say.
Oh yeah,
You actually do look a little bit like a Lombax.
I was just about to say, yeah, you got the blondiness.
You're going to have a weird dream now tonight where I'm a Lombax or something like this now that you've talked about.
It's a pity we don't still do, things were said in the show as a show title. Like that would have been a sweet one. Yeah, you do look like a Lombax. But yeah, are you a Lombax?
Maybe.
Oh, maybe
In
he's
the
a
game, we
Lombax
mean,
in
not right
humans
now.
too.
Maybe I'll unveil on episode 69 whether I'm a Lombax or not.
Get yourself one of those sweet green unitards like his hero, whatever his name was.
Oh yeah.
Captain Quark.
Captain Quark.
Yes.
There we go. Captain
love
Quark,
Captain-
Bowe. I
love
love
Captain Quark.
it.
Yeah,
What
the
about
idea of exploring that galaxy sounds fun to me though. But then again, the idea of being able to safely explore the world of Dark Souls or Bloodborne or Red Dead or any of these sounds amazing.
So I can tell you firsthand that like in a VR experience, even the things you're most familiar with can still play tricks on your mind. So like playing Resident Evil 4 in VR, it's funny, you just turn around, there's somebody in your face, like, ah! You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I can only imagine what that would be like with some of the Dark Souls bosses and the stuff that kind of like shoots you out of nowhere, or like I don't know if I want to live in that eerie, horrible, wet world, but I get it. You're an eccentric, and that's fine. You're my eccentric little Lombax, Shane. But what about you, Buzz? Where would you choose?
I'm stuck in a bit of a mixture, right? Because my obvious one very straight away is going to be Mass Effect. I would love to be in that universe, specifically around like maybe Mass Effect 2's ending after everyone has survived, because Commander Shepard in this universe is class, right? Maybe I am Commander Shepard.
But that's what I was going to ask you. Are you like the lead character in this, or are you like a bystander, or are you somewhere in between?
I see, that's the thing. I kind of be in between, I think, So maybe like, on the team, but not as one, like, just like an extra character who kind of just like...
You're like
sits by
Liara or
place.
something.
Oh no, she needs to be her own character. And so does Miranda.
Do you do like
needs to be
Rick
her
and
own
Morty and
character.
you're just like the guy that works in the carpet store? Do you go back to the carpet store?
Oh,
No.
In the world of Mass Effect, you're just the guy who like hands out drinks at the bar for eternity or whatever.
I tell you what,
always
I'd be
appealed
like-
to me. That has always appealed to me, and I'm surprised that VR hasn't done this yet. Is like make simulacras of worlds we know, like Mass Effect and stuff, like, you know, just enough that they're not legally binding, but obvious of what they're aping, and then just make you like the gardener, or make you like, you know, the guy serving drink, just the everyday pleb in this grand scale adventure. You know, like, I would love to be that bystander that just sees, you know, Shepard walking through the bar or something, like, you know, causing havoc. That'd be amazing.
You'd
But
be like,
sorry, Buzz. What's the appeal there for you?
I just think it's such a fantastic, like the world building that's in that is just like, again, you get that world hopping thing where you can explore all these different planets, the entire Milky Way. You've got so many different races to explore and their culture and history and stuff, and it's just that would be, for me, it would be quite good.
Yeah.
And it's just my favorite game, like the tech and everything. Imagine seeing a Reaper. I know you like that, you wouldn't want it, but like the scale of a VR, looking up and being like, bruh, he's just like Jesus, right? But yeah, if I wasn't going to pick that, I would maybe pick something like Red Dead, like as you said before, which kind of like more a bit more free guy. It's a bit cowboy western, good crack. I am from Ireland, so you have to have a bit of that.
I don't know, like, does the game world keep going on? Like, does the game world have its own life outside of what we play? Because are we just picking a setting in which we will live in, or do we have to get caught up in what happens in the storyline of that game? So, like, if I'm getting caught up and held up by Dutch Vanderland's gang every half an hour because they keep coming back and forth through town to go from mission to mission, then that would suck. But the actual landscape is pretty nice. But then again, it is the Wild West, and, you know, things weren't easy back then, so maybe that wouldn't be too
Like a
appealing
collar
either.
or something, like, you know.
And at that point, you just live in the Wild West. I think, yeah, I think something like that. Maybe, like, my mind immediately went to Skyrim, or maybe somewhere warmer than Skyrim.
Morrowind,
Yeah. Or something like Breath of the Wild. But, like, I just want somewhere kind of chill that I can just live out my days in peace and just maybe vegetate a little bit. Because no matter what you do, if it's like in any way stimulating, you do really want to be in there 24/7 for the rest of your life. So, like, I'm just thinking maybe like Minecraft, but then again, unless you have people playing with you, like, are other people there? That because if so, Minecraft is kind of a good idea.
I was just thinking Minecraft myself. That crossed my mind.
yeah.
I was like, I don't know if I could live in Blockland for that long without going
I don't
crazy.
know. I think I like the appeal of everything having, like, you know, defined corners. It's just like, I know, like, if I have 20 blocks of space and I have another block of thing, I know I can fit it in here, you know. But that, or what was the other one? I was just thinking one a moment ago. Oh yes, because we were talking about it earlier, it popped into my head. But Final Fantasy 14, I think, has like a massively expansive world. It has an endless amount of people to talk to, and I can dress up like a sweet bunny lady with high heels and fishnet stockings and a maid outfit. And sorry, let me pull myself back in a small bit. I said in. But yeah, something like that. I think where, like, I just want other people to talk to. That would kill me if I have to go into a video game and it's just the NPCs that say three things over and over and over again.
I would give you one though, right? Is that if we're going along the lines of like Ready Player One or Free Guy or anything, like, where it's almost like a metaverse, right? Because there's all the different kind of characters and stuff from all the different properties that you love. Maybe Fortnite, if it was just the world that Fortnite is in, and not that you have to go in Battle Royale the whole time. Like, if it was the creative mode, maybe. That would be kind of cool, because then you get like all those big events. There's Ariana going up in the sky there. She's, 50 feet tall. That'd be kind of cool.
Hanging out with Rick and Morty and Naruto,
Yeah.
Like, that's a good point, because whenever they do trailers, it's like very much, here's the Fortnite world, and the game happens around that. Similar to, like, Overwatch or Team Fortress. Like, it's like, no, they live their lives. You only ever see them playing this game, but they live their lives, Maybe one of these metaverse places would be the place to be. I don't know. But Eric, I hope that we gave you enough suggestions so that when you do eventually move into Ready Player One situation and you do glue it to your face accidentally, that we've at least given you a couple of options.